Where does the majority of your income come from?
Well, now it comes from all over. I've got label deals where I get advances. I've got publishing. I've got PRS. I've got shows. I do other production for other people. I've got their publishing, and it's about getting little bits. It just takes them a long time to come. Yeah, remixes is a good income, but it just takes a long time to come. But when it does come, like last week, I don't mind talking about it because it doesn't bother me. But last week I got a couple of grand from here, a grand from here, 500 quid here, two grand there, and I'm getting enough little bits from all over to facilitate the project. I'm not talking about my personal stuff. I'm talking about the project. Now, because I've released on loads of different labels, I did a song with Insomniac 3 years ago. Forgot about it completely. Got a few grand last week. Do you know what I mean? And if you keep releasing regular and you keep going all the regular every 3 or 4 weeks, and you keep over 4 or 5 years, eventually the money will keep coming in bits, and it drips in.
But it drips in, that's the thing.
But it drips in decent amounts. You're not talking about 100, 200 euros. You're talking about thousands from all over when you get to the point where it all comes to fruition. But in the short term, for the first 3 or 4 years, and that could be the first 6, 7 years. It could be the first year, depending on what you get. It could be 10 years. But for that section of your career, you have to be willing to suffer short term, and you have to be prepared to rough it. And that's how it is.
But your stats at the moment are pretty good, aren't they? If you look on Spotify, what you on, like 3/4, 750,000 listeners a month? Around that?
Last 2 weeks ago I was 1.5 million, now I'm on 700,000. That's halved. That depends on release rate.
It's a lot, but it's still, that's high, that's high.
But I have maintained that. Do you know what? Maintaining Spotify is really difficult, over a period of time. So you've just got to keep, for me, everybody's got their own opinion, saying, look, release 3 or 4 times a year on a really good label, and that does work if you've got massive hits and you're working with massive writers, unless you get extremely fortunate, and it does happen, where you drop on a hit. And that is a lot down to an element of luck, dropping on the right sample. No matter what anyone says to you, nobody walks in every day and goes, right, I'm going to write 10, do it to it, or 10 Navos Believe Me. There's an element of luck, and your luck increases the more you do it. Simple as that.
The thing is, Barry, as well, you haven't been doing this long.
No.
Really, if you think about it. So to have that level of success and that level of streaming numbers and release that many tunes, there's got to be something within you as an artist, or something within your sound that's connecting and resonating. What do you think that is?
I just think the way I am and how accessible it is, and I show it is, people resonate with that. A lot of my followers, probably I've got 100,000 followers almost, and most, I would say 3/4 are DJs. That is that's a very powerful thing as an artist. When I talk to people, I talk to them not just as a listener, but also as artists, and also as normal people, and say, look, this is what I'm doing. I don't believe in that DJ, some people do, but I don't believe in that DJ culture that is like standoffish and hidden and all that. I'm a very open person, an open artist, and I get rewarded with goodwill. I don't say, you do that, you send me this and I'll send you that. I see it as goodwill.
And when it comes to your income, where does the majority of that come from?
Gigs for now. Music, especially now, this is royalty times, But for you as well, this is royalty times. March, April is when royalties comes in, and then it's a good time for us. It's a good time because they come all together. So all the statement. Let's listen.
So for anyone that doesn't know about royalty statements, depending on what label you're on, you kind of get them every 6 months. So there's times of the year, especially if labels are aligned, where you'll suddenly get all together a load of royalty statements.
The good thing is about statements is this: the minus statements that you get, you don't have to pay back, right?
But
which are quite a lot. I've got some big minus statements, but the plus figures you get paid them, And if it's yearly, those figures are normally quite good.
But also the label you work with, sometimes it's a funny story. I worked with this new label, I don't want to say it was the label and the track, but the track did really quite good, to be a new label. And I had the statement yesterday, and I was expecting some money, because the track is, and I opened the statement, it was like, -2 grand. No, £54. The track has sold like over 1.5K. So, and then I went on in the cost section, guys, £200 for an artwork. even master itself, it costs 50 quid. The artwork costs like 200 pounds. So sometimes it's even the label. If they want to be tricky, and they can be. So some labels, they're honest, and then they pay you the fair amount. Some other labels, they're just not. So you can say that it is an income, definitely. It's a good income, but still, if I wouldn't have gigs, I would suffer a little bit. Like nowadays, there's no that you make really a big amount of money out of music.
So just touching on that, for anyone who's not aware of how it can sometimes work, if you sign a tune to a label, you're automatically going to be giving a percentage away to that label. That can range from 80% to 50%, depending on which label it is. Then you'll have recoupable costs that will then come off your amount, and this is what we're talking about. And that can be for anything from artwork, it can be from music videos, it can be for radio plugging. And so as an artist, you have to pay back those costs before you start getting paid. And that's what you're explaining, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, Love Desire did really good, but we had like 3.5k for the for the a cappella, because so how gonna make you like money out of it? You need to really sell a big amount of copies to make the kind of. Also, there's 3.5 for the a cappella, and then there's the promo, blah blah. You're not gonna get rich with music unless you are, like billion streams artist. But I'm not. So
I think it's important that you don't, like, when you're making the music, I think it's important that you don't try and concentrate on the money too much in the beginning. Try and get to where you want to get to first.
That's hard, isn't it, though? It's easy to say that because, you can sit there and be like, don't think about the money. But when you're putting so much into it, and if you actually weigh up, as an artist, how many hours that you put into each track. Like, sometimes if you imagine what you'd be getting paid if you were to do a bar job on, minimum wage, which is what now, £11, £12, and how many hours you can work on each tune, and whether that's from, starting out the beat pattern to working with an artist in the studio to then pitching it for labels. Like, sometimes that goes into months on each tune, if you think about it, if you've been working on a tune for years.
But you have to be patient. It does come back in the end. Yeah. Every show that I do is down to what I've done before. The money I'm getting paid from shows now is down to the music I've released, the labels, the people that buy tickets, the people that know me. So I look at it, and I feel like you've got to look at it as a long-term thing. Yeah. If short-term you think you're going to walk in, unless you get extremely lucky, and it does happen. I know people that have got extremely fortunate and dropped on one or two tunes and become absolutely massive overnight. John Summit technically did it with Deep End. He's doing great now. He's managing the project well. But unless you get extremely fortunate, you have to play the long game.